solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that the presentation
that the presentation
I've come to make
on behalf of the chief and elders of Gedeh County
before the TRC of Liberia
before the TRC of Liberia is true, nothing but the truth. So help me God.
I don't think so. Just start. Thank you very much. I will say welcome for coming.
Thank you.
Before we proceed, I would like to first introduce the commissioners here present. On my right, Commissioner Shika Fumakone. Next to Commissioner Connell, Commissioner Gerald Coleman, and I'm Commissioner Silla.
Thank you.
Your name, please?
My name is Jaillah Nyanue. It's Jailah. And the last one is Nyanue.
The date of birth?
I rather remain silent on that.
Date of birth?
I rather remain silent on that.
Oh, okay. Occupation, thank you.
I work with the city corporation.
So we say welcome again.
Thank you.
You may proceed now.
Yeah. On behalf of the elders and chiefs, we just want to take this time to say special thanks to the TRC members for coming to Gedeh to do, whether it's fact-finding or to interview people, whatever task you have, and you continue to go through. You have seen over and over from the time you enter Gedeh, you have not found any violence going on in any corner. It is just in this regard that we are a truth nature. We don't encourage violence in Gedeh. One of the things that was said when Ellen was vowing to be president is that let bygone be bygone. And everybody accepted it. I think by now, Liberians all over the world should have known that we, the Crown people, are not violence type. We're always on the defensive. We don't have anything against our brothers that even fought us in the war. What we, the elders and chiefs, are asking you people to do is only help us build our roads so our people will be able to come to the market. Those things that happened in the past has happened, and we must be able to put them behind us. One of the things you notice, by right, this hall should be filled with Nigerians. I have a farm. Why I come to sit down here and listen to somebody telling me, I killed your mother or I killed your father, and then the person walk away. It's a waste of time. So most of us decided to do our farms than to just come and waste piece of the time. And so the chief and the elders don't have anything much to say, but rather, welcome to Gedeh, and we're going to continue to work with you. And another thing again is that what they are saying, I think some of the people, the good ones among them that are aware of some of the world problem, that TRC of Liberia is not equipped to that of South Africa's situation, where the white versus the black. Now, you post yourself behind the desk and you question those people that come on the other side of your desk. Let's turn the table on you during the Liberian conflicts. What side were you on? And I know you were not telling me that, I was outside of the country, I'm not anti this other group, this other group. one thing that we, the Crown people, did at the time is that we were alone. We fought the war alone. And I know now that you are come to ask for reconciliation. That's all you need to come with. Branchidian, forgive us. We know we harmed you. We did wrong to all of you. And we are very sorry. And then, of course, we forgive you before you even put your foot on our soil. And this is all the chief and others have to say.
Thank you again very much for your presentation and for welcoming us to Grand Gedeh. If you remember, we know we've spoken for the chief and elders of Grand Gedeh. But something I want us to take note of, that the people of Grand Gedeh have forgiven. And over, people came up and make those statements.
Right.
But there are still a lot of individual victims who are still hurt from things that they experienced during the conflict. So the TRC process is about giving those victims voice. You will agree that during the conflict, people suffer a whole lot. Some people wanted the opportunity to talk, to even cry, but they never had those opportunities. And as long as you carry those pains in your heart as an individual, it hurts you. So the TRC process, besides knowing the fact, it will also help us to document our past so that what happened in our time will never be repeated in our children's time. Our time is almost over. The Liberian history have to be written. And this time, the people have been given the opportunity. And the Truth Commission process, South Africa is not the only country who have practiced or who have gone through this process of Truth and Reconciliation Commission. There have been other countries who have done similar things. In Sierra Leone, they had a Truth Commission and they had a special court. In Ghana, they had Truth Commission. In Argentina, a lot of other countries had wanted to know about the past. Because over and over, we have said, let the past be the past, but it have always haunted us. So this time, as one people, we have been given the opportunity to look at our past so that we'll be able to move forward. Because people who decide to ignore the past will always go and catch up with you. That's why the TRC process is about, so that we'll be able to confront our past and that we'll be able to be healed as a nation and a people. So I will stop here for now, and the commissioners here present would like to ask you some few questions for clarity, and maybe. So we'll start from Commissioner Sheikh Kafuma Kone.
Thank you. Before I make any question, I would like to make certain clarification with respect to the representative of the chiefs and others' statement here. Conflict experts or conflict analysts has categorized people in the war-torn country into 4 categories. 1, those who have entertained some discontent, disgruntlement, non-satisfaction, and dislike for a government, they automatically turn to be supporter of rebels and said, we need change. Whether that change has been done at the expense of the lives of innocent people or has been done against the development of the country, all they need, they want change. These people see the war as only targeting a controlling authority. So these people support those who are revolted against the government. The second categories of people are those who are blind loyalists of a government. Whether the government is non-productive, non-democratic, non-progressive, it doesn't matter. They are loyal to that government. Their patriotism is not to the state. Their loyalties and allegiance not to the state, but to a government. Whether that government doing right or wrong, their loyalty is to that government. And so no matter whether the revolution is justifiable or non-justifiable, they are for government. That's the second category of people. The third categories are non-concerned. Who am I? The past president or the past government does not benefit me. I remain poor. I remain unattended. My town remain remote. My area are unconcerned. And this other government has come, we remain the same thing. So who cares? Let it go on. The war will not reach to us. That's the third category of people. The fourth category are those who understand the adverse effect of a war, whether it is justifiable or non-justifiable. And these people feel that the dangers of war is that it does not affect only the government, the sitting government. Neither does it affect only the competent, those in the battlefronts, but most especially affect the innocent people. So these people believed that dialogue is better than confrontation. So you have these four categories of people. And the Accra Peace Accord was drawn up by people with this kind of knowledge and experience. And this is why so many commissions were contemplated on an earmark for establishment, including the TRC. And when the TRC Act was being drafted, it was not only drafted by the transitional government, but was drafted in collaboration of the civil society, the international community, and the sitting government. They came out with a provision of the character, the nature of those who are supposed to be the commissioners. No human being is perfect. We are imperfect beings. But certain criteria were set, and opportunities were given to every Liberian who was interested, every institution to recommend. People were recommended. Some applied. And the news were published in the newspaper, electronic and print media for scrutiny. That opportunity was given. And if you, as representative of the chiefs and elders of this county, felt at the time that there was no single person who did not wrong the people of Grand Gedeh, could have raised that issue. You didn't. So in the legal terminology, you are guilty of waiver and laches. But it is generally wrong to perceive everybody to be against one single person or one group of people. If that is a judgment, that is misjudgment. Not everybody will turn against one single person. Except that single person turn against everybody, then of course that reciprocation is expected. And even in that case, there are some people who are against not the person, but the thing the person is doing, the wrong that is being done. So I'm making this clarification so that you should not be under the impression that every Liberian, every segment of Liberia were against the people of Grand Gedeh. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for representing the elders and chiefs of this county. And as a follow-up to what was just expressed through the Commissioner Sheikh Kafumba, I'm concerned about another question or point. Now, please, as I stated, forgive me if I misphrase myself. In no way is my statement meaning that any one group of people are responsible for what happened in this war. In the end, we are all collectively responsible as a people for going against ourselves. But the TRC process is trying to understand root causes, trying to understand the nature of conflict, and trying to understand the unique character of conflicts and how cultural elements may have affected the conflicts. So I'm going to bring a question to you. If you feel you would like to say something about it, go ahead. If you feel it's delicate, you can leave it alone. But the question is, I see elders and chiefs, first of all, as representing the customs and culture of the clan and the tribe as a whole. And this can be not only just from a people's point of view, but even in an institutional point of view. Those who are the highest, the elders, the oldest, have the custodian of that culture and values. Then we notice that it is the cultural blend, cultural values that blends with our conscious, which is something God-given, that determines how we act day by day in any given situation. Yet, as you mentioned earlier, you felt that many of the elders were feeling that there is a need for people to sort of apologize, in a sense, for what may have happened here. But then the other side of that coin that I would like to ask your opinion of, from you look at the historical perspective of our conflict and the root of it, or somehow the start of it being involved since 1979 to 2003, which is our investigation period, and the role that was played by many of the leaders from this county, how do they feel? How did the elders respond to that, and the chiefs? Were they in a more painful situation of trying to guide these people back to a natural way and they refused? Or was it a harmonious understanding? You know, I would like for you to please shed some light on that. How did they respond to that root factor of the early days from 80 to 90?
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I don't want to share views probably that are not shared by a lot of the others, but most of that's our nature, that when things such as the war that just went down, when those type of thing happens, the others come together. We are always on the defensive. We don't have means to escalate anything. We always sit back and say, let's wait and see. For instance, when Sawyer was appointed or selected to come to Liberia, Jaillah was one person at the executive mansion he would have been angry for the fact that this war, it was only that the Liberian military forces decided to protect the government as well as the country. And so when another leader was selected, he decided to turn the executive mansion key over. There was no objection to that. We as Grandidian, God just created us, God gave us this gift that we don't start nothing with nobody. As you can see, if you, in fact, you go on Suwa Street now, you will not find a Grandidian sitting down there changing money. You find Mandingo, you find the people from Nima. These are the people that was in the conflict with us. But we just don't care how they live their life. Let them don't start it. Then we will end it. And so the adults really don't have any compulsion about this person is doing this, he was my enemies in the past and this, that. You travel to some of these interior part of this county, you'll find bulk of the people, the Mandingos, you know how they like to transact this gold business, diamond and all that. You find the bulk of them in the gold mines. You find your people doing the same thing. People bringing their motorbike running all over the city. Now, there's no one time they said this person was hurt by crime people. It was God-given nature that we should not start something.
Okay, well, I had wanted to go further, but I think at this time I'll let that stay. Maybe we can talk privately later. Thank you.
Okay.
On behalf of the Commission, we say thank you very much for speaking for the elders and the chief of Gedeh County. I'm sure what you did here today will inform our work. Any last word before you leave?
Yeah, my question that I think I mentioned it seemed like because you're the commissioner and so you have the power to question people, and when I turned the table, none of you answered the question. During the war, where were you? What side were you on? You didn't answer that. I mean, that can be done individually. Because you can tell me you were in Ghana when the war started. You can tell me you were abroad when the war started. But even if you were abroad, you stood somewhere. You were on one side or the other. You didn't question, you didn't answer that. But anyway, I'm very thankful to you for giving me the opportunity to sit here.
Before you leave, we appreciated your coming, and I don't think you should leave without a response to your question if your question at all was overlooked. I think my colleagues might have given you an overview on how commissioners were selected. And listening to your question, I think you want to know whether commissioners experienced the conflict or have their own stories to tell. If I may speak for myself, I've been in Monrovia throughout the conflict. From 1979 to 2003, I never left. And individually, commissioners may want to, if they choose not to, okay. But I hope it will satisfy your curiosity to see that commissioners were selected at random based upon a national competitive process, which led to the then head of state, Judy Bryan, selecting 9 out of a listing of 15 that was presented to him out of a nomination list of more than 180.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I thought he wanted to.
Yeah,
I wanted to share something also with you.
Go ahead.
If one says what side is one on, I believe that I'm on the side of non-violence towards resolving conflicts. That it's important that when problems do occur in a society, the people are given the opportunity to express themselves. But they need to harmonize that expression so that violence does not become the only means to solving the problem. Because we learned from this war that once you bring violence into it, you're not going to get any solution to the root problem. The problems that existed before '79 that many felt were necessary to be able to bring a revolution of violence still exist today. And they will not change. But yet we have lost thousands and thousands of our loved ones, our wives, our parents, our brothers, our sisters, for a war that has no meaning in the long run. So in a sense, if you say what side are you on, that's why I want to share that I'm on the side that human beings are meant to dialogue, discuss, and come to a mutually beneficial resolution to their conflicts, preserving peace and God as the center of all interaction. Now, where I was in the war, by God's will, I was here also. And I suffered as much as any one of us have suffered. Lost family, relatives, cousins, property, everything. I became a pauper as a result of the war. So it's a mutual thing that all of us experience. That's why when I was asked to serve on this commission, I found it as a challenge and a hope towards rebuilding a Liberia where all of our children can live together, love together, and coexist in harmony and prosperity. So that's my small point on where I was. Thank you.
Now, you re-echo your question prior to your leaving the stage. Actually, when you asked that question, we thought, or I personally thought maybe you could answer the question outside the stage. But I think Commissioner Kafuma started, to answer your question. He made an attempt to answer your question. I don't know whether you understood what he was talking about. But as the chairman said, before the selection of the commissioners, it was a competitive process where more names were submitted because nobody with human rights record supposed to be part of the commission. And then even based on our work, anybody on your statement takers, any staff of TRC, you're supposed to not have any human rights violation record because our work is such that you would not be able to talk to somebody and you don't know who father you have killed or who aunt you have, hurt. The person may come to you and see you over there. They will never trust you to give their statement. And even in our process, if your name come up that you are part of a fraction or you support that, the TRC will investigate. And the TRC found out that you actually support or participated in that war, in that, fraction, then you wouldn't be associated with the commission. To begin as an individual, I went to school in Grand Gedeh and graduated from Maxwell Wilson. From here, I was in Monrovia. When the war happened, I went to Sierra Leone, then came back to Liberia. Some people in this hall know me very well. As the other commissioner said, everybody in Liberia have their experience. In as much as we all were hurt, but what we are interested in today more is to bring this country together so that we'll be able to heal as a nation. Most often people don't talk about the past because it still hurts. But we encourage people to talk about it because based on our experience, the more you talk about it, the less the pain it will be for you as an individual and you'll be able to move on with your life. So thank you for asking the question.
If I may add, for me, I'm called Sheikh Kafumba Kone. Please do your internal research and external research. You will know who Kafumba Kone is. Thank you.